Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bianca, and today I'd like to talk about something that I feel would be rather interesting, or at least it is for me, and it is the topic about how we could be a little, luckier in life. So to start off, I think it's always really important for me to establish how I personally define luck so that everyone can have a bit of a background context. And to put it simply, I see luck as basically positive external events that occur to us completely by chance, as opposed to it being the direct results of our own actions. And the biggest question that I had in my mind was that how could we increase our chances of getting lucky? Basically, is there a way for us to build some sort of make your own luck machine so that it is something that our future self can thank us for? So in this video, I'd like to share 5 ideas that I have as to how we could do so. Let's get started. The first thought that I have is for us to detach ourselves from the victim mentality and to basically take agency and accountability for all of our decisions and actions. So this ranges from doing a bunch of uncomfortable things like taking personal responsibility for any mistakes you have made, as opposed to trying to put the blame on, others, to taking any misfortune as an opportunity to learn and reflect, as opposed to spending too much time feeling sorry for yourself. Whilst doing this all the time may sound rather extreme because, let's be fair, we all sometimes face trauma that we just don't deserve. I found this approach to be a rather counterintuitive way of empowering ourselves, and that's because it is one way for us to recognize that, hey, we shouldn't have to expect a life filled with despair and powerlessness, because we all have this ability to change our fate for the better. If you want or need something, assuming that it doesn't make you a completely selfish person, go get it. You are not someone who is doomed to have bad luck forever, so turn your attention away from that. If you're the citizen of the internet, I am pretty sure that you might have heard this somewhat cliche quote, your network is your net worth. And I would say that it is cliche because it rings a lot of truth. In today's circumstances, I would see luck as something tied to being strategic at what you're working on. And one of the best strategies that you can ever commit to would be connecting with others. And this brings me to idea 2. Put yourself out there in some way or another. It doesn't matter whether it is through starting a YouTube channel, a non-profit organization, or just by simply going to more networking events. The trick here is for you to meet as many new people as you can consistently. And above anything else, leave your ego at home and keep an open mind. From how I see it, the amount of luck a person has is largely attributed to how interconnected and comfortable a person is at branching out beyond groups of people whom they are familiar with. In particular, I support the notion that we ought to reach out to people who may share different opinions from ourselves from time to time, because the greater diversity of insights that you gather prevents you effectively from living in a bubble, where lucky opportunities will have its boundaries. To put it in a simpler way, luck is a numbers game. So the more people you interact with, the more perspective you will come across, and therefore the higher your chances of getting lucky. Having said that, there are a few tips that I have in mind when you're trying to connect with someone new. So one of the first and most important things that I personally also try to constantly remind myself is that to network effectively, always go with the mindset of, okay, how can I help this person, group, or organization? Oh, and never expect anything in return. I made this mistake far too many times because I failed to appreciate that this is not a conversation to pick someone's brain or engage with the other party as a means to an end, because that would be manipulation. So let's just say you have started a personal website as your way of reaching out to people. One approach that you can consider is to reflect on your strengths and experiences. Think about what you're able to teach and share your ideas for free. Once you're done with the first post, do it all over again. Or let's just say you're hoping to find yourself a mentor. Ask yourself, What can I give? So that you can make the time spent together much more productive for the other person. And it can be absolutely anything, even as simple as introducing the person to your friend who might get along with them pretty well, or sharing something that might help the other person with whatever that they're doing. Another crucial thing to do is to actually show that you care about the other person by asking questions, being fully engaged in the conversation, and to actually show some genuine interest about them as a human being. Overall, luck is built upon the foundation of mutual respect and trust. They come from our determination in interacting with a large group of people, coupled with an intense curiosity to listen to what they have to say, as well as be helpful to them. And actually, if you're the type who enjoys reading, I would highly encourage you to check out the book called The Third Door by Alex Banayan, because I found his journey to tracking down a bunch of super successful people like Bill Gates, Lady Gaga, Pitbull, or Maya Angelou as an 18-year-old college student to be a rather interesting approach to, well, changing his fate. Well, what I mean by changing his fate, I meant like writing a best-selling book. The third idea I have in mind would be to actively ask for help. From my experiences, I came to realize that most people are good-natured and we love to uplift others when the intention and framing is done right. Bearing that in mind, another rather interesting thing that I observe about our world is that big and super ambitious goals are sometimes easier, relatively easier to achieve compared to smaller ones. Okay, hear me out on that. I say that because big goals are attractive. They grab everyone's attention and they basically energize people when it involves working towards something huge and meaningful. So, if you have a big goal that you're trying to achieve, consider doing this. Ask for help. No shame in that. And when you call out for help, take note of these three things. Number one, be super specific about what you're trying to achieve and why you're asking for help. Number two, be clear about your needs. Number three, make sure that you keep the people who help you in the loop with either a thank you or a progress update. In simple terms, communicate your request effectively so that you can make it easy for others to help you. Just to share one of my personal examples, I managed to build a science website called STEMsite by connecting with a bunch of university students as well as working professionals that I have actually never met before in real life through LinkedIn. And just to provide you with some context, STEMsite is a website aiming to help students to better appreciate the interdisciplinary nature of science. But the problem is, I am not and I can never be an expert in every single topic in science. So I needed people to help me with writing articles or fact-checking the website content or just editing other people's articles. That being said, some of the things that I did was to reach out to people whom I come across on LinkedIn and to just share with them why did I build this website, what are my goals for this website, and to just directly ask if they could, let's just say, write an article about a certain topic that I thought would be an interesting addition to the website. And to my biggest surprise, most of the people whom I actually connected with actually said yes. And I really didn't expect to find myself working extensively with many of them, even up to today. And just like that, I made new friends. And I was even introduced to funding opportunities that I never heard about and never even expected to get. Speaking of which, if you are a sciencey person who enjoys writing, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn because I am open to you to write in articles and to share your passion through STEMsite. Okay, now to put that personal story aside, I would also strongly recommend you to tune into Moses Lowe's interview on the Quest podcast by Justin Khan. It's probably on both YouTube and Spotify. I'll add the link in the description. And I'd like you to listen to it because I find his, well, as in Moses' level of luck engineering to be pretty inspirational. And in his early days of building his tech startup, one of the good questions that he tended to ask at the end of every single conversation was, could you introduce me to 2 other people whom I could talk to? This, again, reinforces point 2 and 3, actively ask for help and meet new people. The next idea I have is probably one of my more insane ones. I am not sure how people are going to take it, but I would suggest you to take some risk once in a while, or to put it in a less politically correct way, do something dumb and spontaneous occasionally. Okay, here is the disclaimer. I am not advocating for everyone to be absolutely reckless with their life decisions, but I say that because sometimes the things that we would commonly perceive as luck could really just be because someone isn't afraid to mess up once in a while. And that's because sticking to the same old routine every day for years isn't exactly the most effective way for you to stumble across unexpected opportunities and gains. I'll leave this idea here for now. I hope that it made some sense to you. Please don't do anything terribly stupid. This brings me to my final thought. Take care of yourself, man. We all love to be around physically and emotionally healthy people. The luckier ones would therefore be much more energetic and engaged people. So, how to stay healthy? I think most of you would have already know the answer to that. Eat healthy, sleep enough, exercise, read, look after your mental health, all those kind of stuff. They'll keep your mood up and sustain your curiosity, and the odds might be in your favor. Now that we have covered my 5 ideas, there's something I ought to clarify. I wrote this script with some degree of hesitation regarding the message that I'm trying to bring across, because I'd like to remind everyone who's watching this video that achieving your defined version of success is not a linear process. You probably would have already seen the many social media posts out there that's conveying the same point. The truth is, life can sometimes be a pretty cruel roll of the dice. We can't exactly plan for everything. We do sometimes get unexpected downturns at some point in our lives. Touch wood for you and me. Sudden illnesses, personal situations. I change, people change. Well, truth is, shit happens. Besides that, I think it's also pretty important for all of us to acknowledge that our circumstances may sometimes mean that our goals could be close to impossible to achieve. Despite this harsh reality, I still hold a firm belief that having a structural framework and the right mindset can help you to recalibrate your next move. So this video is written in the hopes of allowing you to understand that you can still increase your odds of encountering positive life-changing situations based on your actions today, tomorrow, and until the end of your time. Ultimately, you can't control the hand you've been dealt, but you can choose how to play it. And I will argue that life becomes much more meaningful because of that. We can still, quite simply, engineer luck. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate if you could just smash the like, subscribe, and bell icon. Okay, that was a little over the top, but please do it. I will always thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. Whether you have been a loyal subscriber or someone who stumbled across this channel completely by chance, I would like to wish you a lucky journey ahead. And if you're interested, I have produced another video where I talked about why I believe that you should all build in public as a way to increase your luck. Please check it out if you can, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!